Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. And of course, this is News Beef. I don't have one of my fancy intros today because it's Monday.
I wrote one. I got one.
Oh, you did? You did? Okay, here. I'll go ahead and read this. I'm probably not going to actually do a thing for it, but here we go. Today on Going In Raw News Beef. Seth shoots on WWE's long-term booking. Jericho hits the road. Actually, Seth shot on fans. Jericho hits the road. R.I.P. Kamala. And we're going to preview tonight's Monday Night Raw. But first, we've got breaking news on what is Retribution. Larson, what's in the news? So good job. I love that. It's a good intro.
Oh, thank you. After Retribution brought the chaos, well, kind of. Somebody brought a chainsaw.
A mother effing chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly. To the end of last week's SmackDown, speculation ran rampant on wrestling Twitter, on internet, as far as who were under those ski masks this past Monday. Saw names like Vanessa Bourne, Chelsea Green, and then a bunch of other wild speculation. But according to Wrestling Observers, Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, don't count on any of the wrestlers who showed up as Retribution on SmackDown to actually be in Retribution. This is what he said. On Sunday night's main event, I believe, transcripts from Cultaholic, quote, I, not Larson, Dave Meltzer, I was outright told the people under the masks are not the people who will be playing the characters. Wrestling Inc. adds that, quote, it's been reported that members of the Retribution stable are being kept close to the vest by top WWE officials and will not be immediately revealed. There's no word yet on how long they plan to go without revealing the men and women behind the masks. So we speculated about all this. I believe I said 90% turnover. So of the 5 people we saw in the ring on SmackDown, I guess one, that'd be 80%, might actually be in the faction. Yeah. But I'm guessing the reason they're keeping the names close to their vests because they don't know who's going to be in it. Yeah. So I guess the question is, on Friday SmackDown, should we take that as any indication, the possibility of any of those people actually being in this faction?
I think it's absolutely possible that Vanessa Bourne will be in the faction. On the other hand, Retribution suggests there is a past wrong, and that might indicate that there are people who have been wronged that we have seen on TV before, so maybe that's not the case. Although they did suggest that, was this Meltzer? I forgot who said this. The bit about them having her intentionally sort of put her hair out to make sure people understood that it was a woman attacking another woman. I think it was the Jessie Kamea thing, and not like guys attacking her. So maybe the fact that they allowed her hair to be shown does indicate that she might actually be in the group. But although I could see them being like, it doesn't matter. Let me ask you this, dude. What's the best? Is there a way to salvage this thing? With good creative, there's got to be, right? Because this on Friday was stupid.
It was terrible. It was terrible on Friday. I guess. I mean, if the motivation is good, if from this point on they're booked to be a legitimate threat to the stability of WWE, which I guess seems to be their MO. Yeah. As opposed to just like cutting some ring ropes and spray painting some stuff. Like they really gotta be a paradigm shift in the world of WWE. Without that, it's gonna come off as like a lower mid card storyline, regardless who's in it. Yeah. Like, I mean, short of them coming out either during or after the main event of SummerSlam and just destroying everything, it's gonna be a letdown. The bar is basically Nexus. If they don't top Nexus, it's going to be a letdown, essentially, or at least meet their debut when they destroy the ringside area, beat up a bunch of people.
If they come out and you actually have, like during the reveal, the unmasking, and they do something horribly violent, like, and it ends up being Ciampa, let's say Dijak. I don't know that it's going to be those guys, but let's say it's like a dream lineup, right?
Yeah.
And their motivations are are rooted in stuff that we've seen. So we actually get some semblance that, hey, we've, I mean, I don't know. It could be something, to me, this is probably too silly, but if it's Ciampa, for example, and he says something that relates to NXT, hey, you booked me to get, I literally risked my neck for you guys. And the way you respond to that is you bring in this flash in the pan and send me packing in 6 minutes at that last takeover, wherever their match was. I forget what it was. Then maybe they'll have something if it's a really, really well delivered promo. And if he does something really shockingly like bad to like Randy Orton, who's like right now the scariest man in the WWE.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's something along those lines, that I could see them salvaging it. But honestly, like it's such a departure from what we saw on Friday that I don't know that's gonna, I mean, it'll be like, okay, cool, this is cool. It has nothing to do with what we saw on Friday because that's not what happened on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a way you can salvage the general idea of people attacking WWE. As it was presented on Friday to me, it after further reflection, it really just came off as like borderline comedy act. It was just, so there was that guy spray painting and nothing was coming out of the spray paint can.
Yeah, I know.
That was terrible.
Like the whole idea of someone taking the chainsaw out and cutting the ropes was just so comical. It was funny.
And it was like a cheesy little chainsaw that was like, it was bad.
It was bad.
So yeah, and the other thing that is interesting is the idea that, and you called this perfectly, it's an aces and eights situation where you had, and granted, aces and eights I think is at this point fondly remembered in the end, because they did some cool stuff with them.
Yeah.
But like, and so that's still a possibility. Like you can still have a positive outcome here. But that being said, even with aces and eights, even if they were getting like, local talent or just guys in the back to put on the mask, knowing full well, there are still big dudes out there. They looked like aces and eights. I wasn't watching live, but I remember watching some footage back of it when it showed them, and they weren't like a bunch of tiny people. And that was like one of the things, like these guys don't even look threatening. And that's all you want. If they're going to act threatening, they should look threatening.
And that's another issue with having stand-ins for now. Like on SmackDown, yeah, they're all relatively smaller competitors, but on tonight on Raw, let's say there's another attack or whatever, and it's like 5 Dijaks.
Yeah.
It's like this would be a massive disconnect if you have no idea who's going to be in it, and then week to week, like the size of people change and it's noticeable, or even if you have the same stand-ins for a month, and then at the unveiling, it's 5 Dijaks.
Yeah,
it's gonna seem weird
unless it's a situation where, like, it is, like some people have suggested, WWE's version of the Dark Order, where you've got a couple of big dudes come out and these little people are just their little minions or whatever, and they'll check them, which I still don't see as like being cool, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a chance. I mean, I had sort of a mini conversation with Louis Dangor over there at Wrestle Talk, and he was saying, I kind of see Seth's point, which we're going to talk about here in a second. When people saw the puppets for the Fiend, they kind of crapped on that, and then the Fiend ends up being like one of the coolest things around. I remember thinking that was actually kind of like the puppet thing. I was like, oh wow, okay, this could be interesting, I think. But yeah, if there is a disconnect between, like, if there's a disconnect between what we just saw and then all of a sudden there's these like 5 huge jack dudes, and it's like, well, that wasn't the guys. If it ends up being cool, then I'll be honest, for me, all is forgiven. If it ends up being cool, because like, what do it's like,
if though. It's a massive
It's
if.
a pretty big if, because again, I don't give WWE the benefit of the doubt because they haven't earned that from me.
Yep.
But I hope it's cool. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, speaking of somebody who hopes he's cool, is Seth Rollins. During an appearance on the Gorilla Position podcast, Seth Rollins spoke about something that's commonly lacking from WWE's product, and that is, of course, long-term booking. Here's what the Monday Night Messiah had to say. These transcripts, courtesy of What Culture. He said this: in the age of instant gratification, immediately this is off the rails, audiences don't have the patience for long-term storytelling. When you can binge watch your favorite series in 2 days as opposed to 2 months, It creates a different precedent for how we intake our entertainment. We are consuming our entertainment differently, and wrestling is not immune to this shift. We have to adapt as well to keep up with our audiences. Now, there's, in my end quote, there is a massive difference between, number one, he's right when he says there's a different precedent for how we intake our entertainment. That's totally true. Absolutely.
100%.
That has zero to do, nothing at all to do with long-term storytelling. Because even if you can binge watch shows have multi-seasons. So, like multiple seasons. So, for example, when I watched the first series, the first season of a show that we both like, Ozark, it's like, wow. But then you have to wait another year. You watch the entire thing in 48 hours, or in 12 hours, or however many, like 12 episodes in 12 hours. You have to wait a year then. Yeah. You have to wait 365 and a half days.
Sometimes longer.
To binge the next 12 hours.
Yeah.
So, no, audiences do appreciate long-term storytelling. How we intake entertainment does not relate to how we appreciate long-term storytelling.
Using the TV series analogy, too, I mean, that if anything, that strengthens the argument that people want long-term, long-form storytelling. Because people are so excited about watching a whole season of Dark or Ozark or whatever on Netflix. They'll sit in front of their TV and dedicate a day or a day and a half or 2 days to watch the whole thing in one stretch. I think he's equating long-term storytelling with actual time as opposed to like narrative development. You know?
Yeah.
You know, because 22 episodes, you know, if like a broadcast series, or 10 or 12 for a Netflix series, you know, that's about 10 hours of content. If you want to extrapolate that out to WWE programming, that's 10 weeks. That's 2.5 months. For a wrestling story, I wouldn't necessarily consider that long form storytelling.
Right. Yeah.
You know, from my mind, like Naito's story, winning both the titles at Wrestle Kingdom, that's long form storytelling. That's years. Years.
Here's the thing. I'll play devil's advocate here. That could be considered too long.
Definitely.
That could be good. All I'm asking for at this point is a blueprint like we've seen with Ciampa and Gargano. Dude, it's not like these guys were like top stars when they initiated this storyline. Triple H saw that they both had potential to be huge single stars, saw an opportunity based on their relationship, and we've sort of seen something similar play out on NXT with two other guys with a history, and that's Keith Lee and Dijak. And I'm assuming that they can continue to tell that story, you know, assuming those guys are in the same orbit for a while. But we saw that over the span of 2 years, spanning multiple takeovers with these two guys, and it took multiple twists and turns, and unfortunately Ciampa was injured before they could really like give us an ultimate payoff. But my God, there was enough just amazing storytelling happening there within the umbrella of WWE. That stuff is totally possible. You can do it.
It is.
But guess what? It doesn't happen when the man who's in charge of that particular show is ripping up scripts the day of filming. That's why it doesn't happen.
Yep.
So no, it's not on the fans. We love long-term storytelling.
It has nothing to do with the patience of the fans. It has all to do with the patience of his boss.
Right.
I don't think his boss has the patience for long-term storytelling. I mean, like the probably the best long-term story WWE is doing right now is Sasha versus Bayley.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because they seem hesitant to actually move on to the next phase, the feud phase between the two of them. For whatever reason, it seemed like they had several instances where they could have went forward, even going back as far as when Bayley shouted at Sasha, "You ain't shit." Like 2 years ago, they could have went with the feud then. Didn't do it. They ended up winning the tag titles. Their story seems to be building to that, but they're in absolutely no hurry to get to that point.
So
and part of that might be the pandemic. Part of it might be waiting for shows in front of fans again. They're in no hurry.
I will actually give them. I do think that with Sasha and Bayley, there is some concrete evidence that they have realized that Pritchard or McMahon or whoever has, or maybe, you know, when Sasha talks about WWE having faith in them to take over that might mean they are being granted, Sasha and Bayley, they might be given the benefit of the doubt by Bruce and Vince to book their own path. I could see that as a possibility, but it does feel like in that situation, they are actually executing a proper long-term storytelling. We saw that just this past week on, was it Raw, when Sasha goes to when Sasha, was it SmackDown or Raw, when Sasha books that match, when Sasha was like, hey, she goes backstage.
Friday, yeah.
It was on SmackDown, wasn't it? Yeah. And Sasha is now starting to do the stuff that Bayley did to her.
Oh, sorry, no, it was on Raw. It was on Raw.
Okay, yeah, because SmackDown was a big turd, so that was on Raw. Sasha is now that she has the Raw Women's title, she's starting to treat Bayley the same way Bayley was treating her when she didn't. And it's like, oh, there's some role reversal here. That's some development. Yep. And this is at the very least months in the making. And yeah, originally that story they wanted to tell with these two, it was like a very stop and start thing. But now that they've actually gone through with the Bayley heel turn, Sasha's back, they're best friends, they're able to use that the old story with them, the real life story with them losing their tag titles. Now they're on a roll. That's actually some really good storytelling going on here.
It has been.
Because the dynamics are always changing. With Seth himself in his storyline, there did seem to be large swaths of time where it felt like the same 6 people were mixing up in his storyline over and over again.
Well, and he has to go out there and drop essentially the same promo week after week.
Week after week after week. And that stuff doesn't really work for me because I'm like, I think I'm just going to get the same promo here as opposed to things constantly evolving. Now, maybe once they do the blow off with Dominic at SummerSlam, which I'm actually looking forward to that match, it'll move in a direction where we'll get some more like development. But you can't put it on the fans, and Seth always does that. He always puts it on the fans, and that torpedoed his face turn.
Yep.
It's not always the fans, man.
Nope.
Before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor, forhims.com. Larson.
Yeah?
I want you to think long and hard about this question. What's a common issue that men face but don't always want to talk about?
Oh, you're talking about ED, Steve. 40% of men struggle with ED by the age of 40. But why do guys turn to odd solutions or do nothing at all when they can turn to medicine and science?
Science!
Of course you go with science, so check out Hims and discover the tiny pill worthy of a big celebration.
Yeah, Hims connects you with real licensed doctors and FDA-approved products to treat your ED. We're talking well-known generic prescription solutions backed by science and with Hims made more affordable.
With Hims, you can stop worrying about all those awkward in-person doctor's visits. You can say goodbye to expensive pills and injections in places no man wants an injection. Being your best means performing your best, and Hims makes it easy. All you got to do is answer a few questions about your medical history and have a confidential review with a doctor. If approved by the doctor, products are shipped directly to your door.
Yeah, try Hims today by starting out with a free online visit. Go to forhims.com/GIR5. That's forhims.com/GIR5. forhims.com/GIR5. Prescription products are subject to medical provider approval and require an online consultation with a medical provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details and safety information. This could cost hundreds if you went in person to the doctor's office or pharmacy.
Remember, that's forhims.com/GIR5.
Fozzy. Back on the road. Larson, what's going on with this?
Yeah, so Chris Jericho faced some social media backlash over this past weekend after news broke that his band Fozzy played a couple shows with fans in attendance over the weekend in South Dakota. Given that we're in the midst of a global pandemic, maybe putting on concerts isn't the best idea. Jericho, though, responded to the criticism on his latest Saturday night special, saying, and these transcripts are from WrestlingNews.co, quote, "The reason why the shows have happened is because these states of North Dakota and South Dakota have low COVID cases, less than 1,000 in both states." He continues, "I think Florida had 9,000 today alone. The venues are either outside or they are half capacity. We sold out tonight in Minot with, I think, 50% capacity. And last night we were sold out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with 35%. We hand out masks at the door, the temperature checks. We stay in the bus all day. The Fozzy crew and camp have been tested." Of course, Jericho is slated to take on Orange Cassidy in a rematch of their Fyter Fest bout Wednesday. I am not sure if that's been taped already or not. So there's a lot of people on Twitter saying, hey, Jericho, you did this. You should quarantine for 2 weeks so as not to potentially endanger the AEW roster.
Yep.
So, when I saw this, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not going to try to defend Chris Jericho or Fozzy's decision to play shows. You know how I feel about that.
Sure.
Don't do it. But if it's a situation where this match with Cassidy is taped already, it's in the can, he's kind of written off for a bit. Jericho decides, all right, I got 2-3 weeks. I'll play a couple shows. I can quarantine before I have to head back to AEW. I don't know if that's the plan. That's probably being optimistic. That might be giving Jericho the benefit of the doubt here. I'm hopeful that's the case. So there's more forethought into it as opposed to just, well, we haven't played a show in a few months. Let's go do a couple in a couple of states that are sparsely populated. That is why they don't have a whole lot of COVID cases.
Yeah. The pictures from the concert were pretty disturbing, dude. Because here's the thing. You can have one single person, and, dude, that entire place will just be on fire with it. That's how this thing works. It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, the brutal thing about COVID is, like, scientists are kind of shocked at just how easily transmittable it is. And so there have been cases where, like, one person will have it and 100 people at these super events will be infected. Yeah. And so when you have this giant, I don't know if they have a literal mosh pit, but you've got like a ton of people. It's like, yeah, you can have 50% capacity, but if that entire 50% are huddled in together,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. There's still a lot of people that are being exposed. Yep. The bigger or as it pertains to us, talking about wrestling, it is going to be interesting to see how Tony Khan would handle a situation like this. If Jericho does these shows and Tony Khan, as the owner of the company, feels, hey, I can't have him back for 2 weeks. If there's a clash between him and one of his top stars, I really hope he puts his foot down and says, hey, with respect, I can't have you back for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I really hope that's the case. You don't want an Eric Bischoff situation where wrestlers are putting Tony Khan in a closet. I really doubt that's going to be the case because he's the guy who's writing the checks. So yeah. I really doubt that'd be the case. There might be some awkward conversations in his future, and maybe they've already been had. Maybe
they could have already had it. Maybe it's a situation like I mentioned where Jericho was like, okay, I'm not involved in anything for a little bit. Orange Cassidy's probably going to win on Wednesday. There might be an opportunity for me to take some time off. Here, I'll go play some shows, and then quarantine for 2 or 3 weeks, and then come back whenever they have the next thing ready for me. I don't know. Like I said, that's being optimistic. That's assuming that this has all been well thought out and planned. I don't believe Jericho said anything to that effect on his stream on Saturday night. But then again, that might, kayfabe wise, probably couldn't.
Yeah.
If that was planned, I don't know. That's being optimistic about it.
Yeah. I mean, Tony Khan, he seems like a guy who knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure I'd like to think that he would have no problem in saying, hey, dude,
All right. Dang Q says AEW is live this week, according to Tony Khan.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go.
Well, so much for that.
What's the, so wait, I know that it could take up to 2 weeks where you're showing no symptoms. Does that include in terms of getting an actual test, like it showing positive or negative? Have you read anything about that?
I mean, I don't know for certain.
Like you're not testing negative for 2 weeks when you first get it. Okay, you don't know. Okay, no, that's fine. Because I don't know. I don't know.
I have an idea, but I want to give a definitive answer and have it be wrong.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Jorge D claims the test can be negative in the first 4 to 5 days of infection. If we're to take Jorge D at his word, there, I'm sure he's maybe looked it up. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, decisions are to be made. Sad news. Kamala, also a real name James Harris, passed away this weekend at the age of 70. I know over the past couple of years, He's had some pretty nasty complications from diabetes. He's had, I believe, both legs amputated because of it. Jorge D also says, Dr. Steve Winters also says 4 to 5 days. Jorge D says Renee got a negative in her first test, then tested positive in her second test 5 days later. So, yeah, decisions will be made. Yeah, so that's sad about Kamala. Like I said, he's had complications. But yeah, no, he was a big name back in the day.
Yeah, definitely sad news for sure. Want to preview Raw?
Yeah, let's do that.
First up, who will fight in Raw Underground next? There's been some spoilers out there. We're not going to get into them about someone who could be involved in Raw Underground tonight. It's potentially very exciting.
Ooh, awesome. Very cool. I don't know about that. I don't want to know about it, so please don't spoil it in the comments.
I'm not going to say anything else about it.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the comments.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking to comment land. Also, Asuka faces Bayley with the SummerSlam title opportunity hanging in the balance. That'll be good. And then
finally, that will be good. Finally, Kevin Owens goes one-on-one against Randall Keith Orton.
Kevin Owens is going to learn he should have let it breathe.
Yep.
Are we going to do this now, or do you want to wait till the end of the show to do this?
We could do questions first and to do this later.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Let's answer some questions.
Sounds good.
All right. First up, here on the Twitter, I posted a thread, and I swear I have this thread.
I thought I had it handy and ready to read questions off.
Oh, here we go. Perfect. Dalen Dula, you've been selected to take a multiple-year expedition to Pluto, the planet, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Select 2 wrestlers to fill out your crew. They will assist you in your various assigned tasks and keep you entertained. Xavier Woods, number 1.
Yeah, I was going to say him as well. Definitely.
Oh, and then Max Moon, number 2. He's a well-traveled space.
Why not Aerostar? At least according to Lucha Underground, he's either a space traveler and or a time traveler.
Oh, I didn't know the space traveler thing was in there. I
thought it was just maybe. Well, if he's a time traveler, he could maybe get you to Pluto much quicker than it would through any sort of traditional.
The Fiend theoretically could teleport there.
But is there a limit? Is there a limit to his teleportation range? That's really the question.
Unknown.
Exactly. Anthony put together a 5-man squad of current wrestlers to pull off a GTA-style heist. 1 from WWE, 1 from AEW, 1 from New Japan, 1 from Impact, and a wild card.
If you're a what?
If I'm a what? No, a GTA heist.
Oh, wow. Great question, because I want to do one of those soon.
With wrestlers.
All right. Well, you need brains. So the architect. Let's go with Seth. Why not?
Yeah, so I got 2 Seth. He's my WWE guy. You need some muscle.
But the
Lance
muscle.
Archer.
Oh no, I would go with Big E for the muscle, because these days the muscle and like for example Batista, Drax in Guardians, he's the muscle of the Guardians, but he's also a comedic figure. So I'm going to go with Big E.
Don't you remember that Lance Archer shoved a dude up in the ceiling? That was hilarious. Lance Archer's my muscle. Next, you need a computer wizard. Sami Callihan.
I'm going to go with I'll go with SmackDown Hacker.
It's 1 from each promotion, man. 1 WWE, 1 AEW, 1 New Japan, 1 Impact, and a wild card. If you're going to have Big E as your muscle, that's your WWE and your wild card.
Okay. Impact? Wait.
Yeah, no. You need someone from AEW still too.
Oh. I'll go with
we got a raid from Ricky. Thank you, Ricky.
Oh, thanks, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky. Good to see you, buddy. We're talking about wrestling today.
Oh, look at that. He also subbed. Thanks, Ricky.
Aww.
You'll get our bonus episodes now.
Yeah.
Go check out Internet Today, everybody. Why is
my
door being open right now?
They're the best.
But I locked that thing. I don't know. Who's good with computers over there in AEW? Is the librarian? They got computers at libraries.
Yeah, there you go. You
Leva
want
Bates.
Peter Avalon or Leva Bates?
Leva Bates.
From Impact, who do you got?
From Impact, I'll go with... So, wasn't what's Affleck's younger brother name? Casey. Wasn't Casey and Scott Conn the comedic duo in the Ocean's movies?
Mm-hmm.
So my comedic duo would be the Motor City Machine Guns.
Okay, that's good.
I like them. They have a cool look. They look like they got the guys that could pull off a heist.
Yeah, that's good. Someone from New Japan. I'm gonna go with Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, that's your answer for every New Japan question. I'm going to go outside the box.
Because there's always a good answer.
I'm going to go outside the box. Guy knows about pulling off heist. The crown jewel. He's named that because he stole a crown jewel.
No, I think it's supposed to be like he's top dude in Bullet Club. That's why.
There you go. He's top dude. I got to close my door.
His win-loss record doesn't really indicate that. Mr. Triple Mania, Juan Guerrero Jr., if you could pick one and only one, would you rather see Lesnar versus Riddle or Lesnar versus Keith Lee?
Lesnar versus Keith Lee. I don't know. Because Lesnar respects Keith Lee, I don't know that he respects Matt Riddle.
I don't think he does, and that's why I might lean towards that one, because it could be really awkward, especially if Riddle is booked to go over.
Well, okay. If Riddle's booked to go over, then yeah. But that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, probably not.
That is not going to happen.
Patrick Sparks, what are 3 things that could be done to improve Raw Underground, and what are 3 things to ruin it? So we actually did a video where we fantasy booked the first year of Raw Underground. All sorts of great ideas as far as how to make it better.
I had a couple good ideas, but I feel like I could have done better.
Yeah,
I like the premise of the video though. It didn't do terribly well, but it's new. Give it time.
Yeah, new. So 3 things to do to ruin it. Just like not do it anymore.
Format it. Format it in the way that it was formatted on Raw, where it was like in fits and starts. Like it would just go but give it an entire third hour and then you're good. But just this whole we're going to cut back to it every once in a while is no good.
Yeah.
Structure.
Your son, Christopher Kaufman, what attire does Pat McAfee come out for his match? A singlet, trunks, jeans and a shirt, football gear with patch, maybe even something else. What do you guys think? He's going to come out with this tuxedo short thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. The tuxedo shorts.
Yeah. Tim just asked why Steve.
Why do you even read that question?
Because it's Tim.
So? Doesn't get a pass.
Nick.
I hope he's doing okay. His foot was all busted up.
Yeah. Nick, there have been some fans criticizing NXT for trying new things like the Robert Stone brand tank angle or the Pat McAfee segment, saying it's hurting NXT. Where do you guys stand on some of the criticism? Thanks, friendos. I mean, NXT was getting kind of one-dimensional, a bit of a slog. I felt like it took itself too seriously.
It was a chore for a spell.
I like that they're bringing some more comedic elements to the show, some more characters. I thought the Pat McAfee stuff was great. The tank angle was fun. I have no problem with any of it. It lightens the mood of the show up because it was getting to be a bit of a chore.
I'm about it.
I'm about
it. It's as long as it's well done. I'm about it. They bring in Retribution, a bunch of little tiny people ripping up the stuff. I'm not about it.
What seems more likely to happen? Eric Bischoff back as an on-screen figure in AEW, or Sid being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Is Sid going to the Hall of Fame? Bischoff said that his appearance on AEW was just a cameo. Didn't seem like he had any interest in resuming a sort of full-time.
Why hasn't Sid been in the Hall of Fame yet, man?
I don't know.
Should be.
He should be. He definitely should be.
Greg Morris, if Underground becomes a smash hit and sticks around as a third hour of Raw, could it work in an arena with fans? It would be kind of cool. If they did the thing where they kept it in a warehouse thing, then maybe not, because they'd have to just show it on a big screen and that'd kind of suck for fans in the arena. But if they did a thing where take the ropes off, get some like a one spotlight.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't think they could do this everywhere because it's at Madison Square Garden, you have the main arena. I believe downstairs there's a smaller theater. So in instances like that where there's either a smaller venue within the same building as the arena or nearby, you could say, all right, part of your ringsider package, you're dropping $500 to get that ringside seat. Guess what? You got to go to either the pre or post show taping of Raw Underground.
Oh, what a great idea! That's good. So yes, it would work absolutely. Let's see here. The fans would have to sign a hold harmless agreement though.
Yeah, well, you have to change up some of the things.
Yeah,
you have to change up some of the things.
You need barricades and stuff.
Yeah, Captain Marvelous. Did you get the package I sent from Jorge Uribe?
Probably this week when Larson gets back, we'll open up the rest of this mail. That sounds familiar, though.
Mr. Sinister, what are the odds of getting a Keith Lee versus Big E program? If it was ever to happen, what pay-per-view would it be best at? WrestleMania. Main event WrestleMania.
I agree. Screw it. We'll do it right now. Jorge Uribe.
Oh, wow. We're going to differ on this one. Ryan Supernova, mac and cheese or mashed potatoes and gravy as a side. Which wrestler most likely to say both? I'm not a mac and cheese guy. I'm not really a cheese guy, period. And I love me some good mashed potatoes and gravy.
I love me some mashed potatoes, but a good mac and cheese. I'll put it this way. I actually would not choose mac and cheese 10 out of 10. I would choose it probably 7 out of 10. Certain meals I definitely would prefer to have mashed potatoes with. Let's see here. This is from Jorge. Some years ago, I walked into a store and saw the official WWE rule book. I was so excited, but then I opened the book and saw that it was just a dumb sketchbook. I felt angry and insulted, like WWE was just selling me trash because I would pay for anything with their logo. I've always heard if you don't like something, then make your own, so I did.
Oh,
Thanks to Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, I created my own book explaining the rules of wrestling. I hope this is something you and your kids can enjoy. Thanks for all you do, Captain Marvel.
That's so awesome.
Look at that. That's cool.
Great.
That's
so cool.
Pro animal wrestling. And yeah, it's like a kid's book, but for wrestling rules. That's amazing.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
That is awesome. Man, I can't wait to take a look at that. That's great.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jorge.
NJWP, are you looking forward to Battlegrounds, the video game? It might be some fun. It's not a full price title, so that seems fair.
It was like $40.
Yeah, I think so.
If it's $40, I will keep an open mind. I'll look. I like having stuff to do for our patrons, so I'll probably play it for our. Maybe we'll do maybe we'll do it as part of our. When does it come out?
Soon. Well, here's the thing too. Depending on the extent of the customization, given the issues that we've had with the 2K19 server.
Oh yeah, I know.
That might have to be the fill-in until.
I'm fine with that. Let me take a look. WWE Battlegrounds. It comes
Will
out.
Combs has a question. Hey, Steve, who are your top 3 favorite Star Trek characters? And Larson, who are your top 3 favorite guitarists? 3 favorite Star Trek characters, Steve.
Picard, Spock, and Miles O'Brien.
No Cisco?
I love Cisco. I think he's great. Look, I can have like a top 10, and I don't know who to put number 1. Mm-hmm. Cisco's great. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Top 3 guitarists, I guess Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead. Probably Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine. The third spot would be a tie between Thurston Moore and Lee Ronaldo from Sonic Youth. Hugh Longheavy, if SummerSlam is on a beach, what should Retribution do a bad job of vandalizing? We'll tip over lifeguard stations, tear down volleyball nets.
Yeah.
Maybe steal some stuffed animals from the Midway on the boardwalk.
Kick some sand into some nerd's face.
There you go.
Let's see here. So that comes out September, what did it say? September 13th, I think. September 18th. So let's see here. So what if we did our stream? The 18th is a Friday. What if we did it that weekend?
All right, that's fine. That sounds good.
I'm down to do that. Just play a bunch of Battlegrounds, have some friendos do some character creations. Adrian C. here with the bits. With Bianca attacking Zelina on her Twitch stream over the weekend.
That was great.
That was great. Do you think they'll bring it up on TV as well? Also, what wrestler should we see do Twitch storyline crossovers? That was so inventive. That was so creative. I love that they did that.
What are you doing in my house? That was great.
By the way, Twitch took that clip down. However, it exists on our Instagram page at Steve and Larson. So go follow our Instagram page.
That was so good. Zelina was, what are you doing in my house?
What the hell are you doing in my house?
That was great. Blake Elizondo, am I living in a bubble, or is it insane that the fans who constantly praise even the slightest long-term story are constantly blamed for WWE's short-term drop it if it's cold, if it's not over, to weak style of writing? He says Rollins is just trolling or just uninformed of what fans want.
He very recklessly stands his own company.
Yeah.
That's his deal. That's what he always does.
Eric, given that Bayley's opponent for SummerSlam will be determined by the Rumble match, Battle Royal match that includes all brands, who do you see coming out of it, could we see an NXT call-up? Thank you, friendos.
You know, dude, whenever we do something that, like, doesn't work, doesn't pay off, we're trying something new and the fans and, our audience doesn't respond or an audience doesn't respond, who do I never blame?
Our audience. I don't blame the audience either.
It's like, okay, what can we do different?
Better.
What can we do different? What can we do better to, like, enhance their experience so they will be into it?
Exactly. Lord Ziffer, with the rosters the way they are now, what do you guys think the 2 world title matches at Mania 37 will be?
37. Dude, it's not until April. I'm saying Roman's going to be back. Roman will be in the main event.
Roman versus The Fiend.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case.
And then Randy versus Edge.
Hey, that's not bad.
Melancholic Murph, with the recent poisoning storyline, other shenanigans, what other random movie and weird storyline tropes would you like to see? Also, who should take the belt off Drew? Wouldn't be surprised if Randall Keith Orton won the belt at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I would actually like to see that. Would be cool. What other movie tropes? Well, I mean, we kind of saw it with like I would like to see like a Cyrano de Bergerac type thing.
Oh, all right.
Or like there's like a love storyline, but like, how about this? It's like a love storyline where this guy is trying to get with a girl, right? And she's like, "Wow, but can you perform in the ring?" And so he decides to like don a mask, but he has his friend who's like a really good wrestler don the same mask, and so he wrestles for him.
All right.
And impresses her. But then she's like, "Oh, I just liked you deep down, even though you're a crap wrestler." Wasn't that like the basic gist of Cyrano de Bergerac? It was like a guy who like couldn't speak or something like that.
Yeah, more or less, because that was Roxanne, the Steve Martin movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It was based on that story where, that firefighter dude was not good in terms of communication, so he had Steve Martin help him out with that.
Mm-hmm. But then didn't she fall in love with Steve Martin?
Uh-huh.
That kind of sucks.
Because she found out
that
he was the one, I guess, writing the love letters or whatever.
Yeah, okay, so I got it wrong. Like, she would end up liking the guy who's actually the good wrestler. In my mind, I don't know why I have Otis in my mind.
Fear and Loathing, is cereal a soup? No.
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 No?
No.
Why wouldn't it be a soup?
I think soup has to be cooked.
Milk isn't considered a broth. Isn't
well,
soup
I mean,
have to have
like
some
clam
sort of broth?
chowder, the broth is cream based.
Yeah.
So, but it's not cooked. Cereal isn't cooked.
Does it have to be? I guess it has to be, huh?
I think so. Even cold soup, I think you cook it first.
Is tomato soup? Tomato soup cooked? You gotta cook that, right?
Yeah, you gotta cook the tomatoes. You can't just blend up tomatoes.
I'm not like a big soup
sauce.
guy. I'm not the person to ask about soup.
Nast, you can pick any game developer besides 2K to make the next WB game in 2021. Who do you pick and what game they made previously is the reason you chose them? Well, of course,
Rockstar.
THQ. it's THQ and the development team behind all the great N64 wrestling games.
Give me Rockstar. And they made GTA. That's what made me choose that. It's my favorite game ever. Let's see here. Jake Housen, with David Arquette previewing a trailer for his documentary on his career in the Indies, which independent wrestler would you like to see in a documentary or docuseries? You guys might recognize some familiar faces in that David Arquette documentary. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
I feel like a lot of the hardcore wrestlers would have some interesting stories.
Nick Gage.
Yes, exactly.
That guy did a bid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legitimately.
Anthony Tobias, with Xavier Woods wanting to wrestle Kenny Omega, do you think this will ever happen? If it does, which other wrestlers should do company versus company matches? So, yeah, Xavier Woods talked about that, I believe, over the weekend. I think that'd be great.
SmackDown Hacker versus Sami Callihan.
There you go. And we still have no idea who SmackDown Hacker is.
Rich Nason, Dirty Rich. Michaela asks if you think all ranch dressing tastes the same. No, it doesn't. I've tasted. There's actually bad ranch dressing out there.
There is.
I'm a fan of the ranch, but there is some bad ranch out there.
Yeah, there is a difference. There is actually quite a difference. Brock the Rock, what, in your opinion, has been the best feud of 2020 so far? It's got to be Orton Edge, right? It was pretty good.
Yeah.
The Mania match wasn't great, but the other one was really good. All the promo stuff was really good.
There's a lot of pieces in place right now for some really good feuds. Like, I think I'll put it this way. By December, it's going to be Sasha Bailey.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. Kenny T. Have you guys thought about continuing any of the WWE 2K stuff at some point? I've got Lobatimi Reborn on standby, if so. Yeah, we'd love to do some of that stuff. Unfortunately, WWE 2K19 servers are completely and totally bunk. We can't play a match against each other from our homes. So
yeah, we haven't tried in a little bit because it was just...
We haven't tried. It's only been 4 days since we tried. We tried on Thursday or something.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Sean, if AEW gets a second show on TV, what should it be called?
If AEW gets a second show?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Just call it Nitro.
There you go. Thunder. Sean Barlow, hey, Steve and Larson, with Pat punting Adam Cole. This is the start of his babyface turn, right? If so, he's going to be one of, if not the most over baby faces in the company, as Adam Cole just seems like the most likable dude. But does that mean he splits from Undisputed Era? No, I don't think it means he splits. I don't think that means they split up at all.
I don't even think it means that he's a babyface.
I think he's just going to be Adam Cole, just maybe slightly less of a jerk.
I think that's what him, like, in storylines against people like that are bad would look like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rich Nason, what's the weirdest food you put ketchup on? He says scrambled eggs. I don't think that's weird. Like, ketchup on eggs is not that uncommon.
I've had that before.
Yeah. Hash brown, same thing.
I went through a phase when I would do that, yeah. Jake Hausen, who's making a deep fake of Steve and Larson with this meme? Oh, ha! Yeah, the Kevin Nash whiteboard one. Nobody's done that yet. Let's see here.
That's a good question from S8. Do you guys miss seeing each other and hang out in the office together during these times, or are you kind of tired of your families yet? Keep up the good work, friendos.
Do I miss seeing you in person? I guess I've just gotten used to not seeing you in person. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't miss the office. I don't miss that. It is funny that given that we've been doing this now for 4 months,
almost exactly 5 months, yeah.
There are there are people who have come to our show, especially since from Quizlemania, who don't know what it's like to see us with each other, assuming they haven't gone to our back catalog.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting to me. So it will be weird to do this. It will be weird to do this again when things have settled down.
But I think the plan, and granted everything could change, is this will still be the common template.
This is going to be the standard, but like 1 day a week we'll get together, film some stuff. We'll do like my idea was come over here on Monday, we'll film News Beef, we'll maybe film another video, do some stuff where it's obvious that we're still like around each other. But yeah, this is by far the preferred way to go for like a lot of reasons. But no, I think you and I have seen each other enough over the past 25 years to like be good.
Yeah, we don't have to see each other ever again, really. Just Zoom call is sufficient.
Like I could move, you could move. If we wanted to move,
I know.
We could move and we'd be fine. So and who knows, maybe when things get back to normal, you coming over here on Mondays, that might last 2 weeks, and then we'll be like, we don't really need it.
I think the one thing that benefits from us being together in theory is pay-per-view stuff.
Yeah.
The watch-along
stuff.
That could be fun, doing that in person again. And that would help make those really feel like special events, because, hey, look, we're going to be in the same room together.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyways, that's all the questions we got here.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Be sure to smash that like button. Drop us a comment. I probably should have said that earlier. Drop us a comment at some place here now. Thank you. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.